The Fandom Bricks Podcast.
It is that time of the week again for the Fandom Bricks Podcast. And once again, I am your host, the Galaxy of Bricks, joined tonight by none other than TheLeckoid, all the way from Scotland.
Hi there.
And believe it or not, because we have TheLeckoid on, he's come out of hibernation. It is my ever-amazing co-host, Sam, or Bite-Sized Bricks. He's back.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be back.
Oh, welcome back, mate. It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, we're in February 2023 now.
Yeah,
I don't think we've recorded an episode since beginning of December last year. So
no,
it's good to be back.
I've had to kind of do this on my own with various other strange people. You know, it's kind of just been bizarre, really, to be honest with you.
It's been good, mate. They've been great episodes.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, you know, it's been fun just kind of branching out and getting to interact with people. I mean, we're all talking Lego, so yeah, it's all been fun, hasn't it? We have a very, very jam-packed edition of the Fandom Bricks podcast for you all this evening, and I think you guys are going to love our topics. So without any further ado, we'll kick off as always with our weekly segment of Lego Life Stories. So Jim, or TheLeckoid, what have you been up to Lego-wise? What have you built? What have you bought? How has your Lego week been?
Well, I'm on a pretty much a Lego ban at the minute, so I've not bought anything. I bought enough in January, so February. It's Mrs. Leckoid's birthday and Valentine's Day, so need to keep it in the lowdown.
Yeah.
But obviously I've got January stuff that I've been sorting through, getting ready for the March mech madness. So I've been sorting through a lot of the mechs to try and build them in practice for the speed builds that are coming up. But I did finish Vader's Castle last night. You know,
nice.
A very impressive set. I'm glad the wife bought me it. It's a really good set.
Yeah, I missed out on that one, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly jealous, mate.
I do have it. It's like to the side of me here. It's a great build.
I really enjoyed the build.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh, honestly. Oh, so fair enough. So yeah, so yours has been quite tame, really, Jim. So that's all right then. You know, you kind of get Valentine's Day and Mrs. Leckoid's birthday out of the way, and you're laughing. What about you, Sam? You've been very much away from the podcast for a while, but I know that you've been posting some content on your TikTok and you've been doing some YouTube shorts as well. So tell us, what's your Lego life story been like recently?
Yeah, I mean, my week in Lego has been very similar to my previous few months. I haven't really bought a lot. I've tried to kind of, in my downtime in the evenings, just kind of sit away on my phone and make silly little videos and post them every now and then. But this week, actually, I managed to sort through a bit of Lego. I think it might have been this week or at the end of last week, I finally finished my Book of Boba Fett little mock that I've been... I mean, we discussed it way back in at Brickfest.
God, wow.
I remember when that was, but we did discuss it there. And I finally finished it now. Finally got a bit of time to get around to it. So it's been nice. I've found this week, I found a few little pockets of time and build a few things. So it's been nice getting back to it, and obviously back on the podcast as well. So yeah, it's been a good week in Lego.
Brilliant. That's good.
How about yourself?
Oh, well, I mean, me and Kate went to Manchester the weekend. We went to the Arndale Lego store, and we were kind of just we didn't go with the intention of buying anything. We were just going to look around. I had my eye on a couple of sets. So the Jurassic Park T-Rex Breakout was there. They had Diagon Alley, and for 30 seconds I was tempted. I was like, just bought the Cantina. Do I buy Diagon Alley?
Do you know why that is? Because you had Pod and the Ginger Lady on last week, and all of a sudden you're going in and being tempted by Diagon Alley.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a beautiful set. I also contemplated the Ministry of Magic as well for about 30 seconds as well. But, there was that one. Then obviously the Quinjet is the last January set that I actually don't have that I was really interested in. But I actually bought myself 2 speed champions. So we got Dom's Charger, and we also got the Nissan GTR as well.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
It's a hard one to pick up.
I've got some ideas for I've got some ideas for content for those. So now that I've got my Fast and Furious speed champions, I'm actually very, very, very happy. So
yeah, I mean, they're in high demand at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing them being sold for a lot more already on Facebook Marketplace and things. People can't get a hold. So and Kate got herself Daisy Duck as well, a Brickhead. So nice.
So we both left with some Lego. So all in all, decent weekend, I would say. Nice and fun. And we built Morbius versus Miles Morales as well.
Oh, nice. How is that build?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's different because obviously it's Miles Morales and Morbius, but I would say if your collection is like cars and you want something like that, it's definitely worth having. I think the Miles Morales for me is the standout figure. I'm just looking at it like off camera now, and the Miles Morales is beautiful. That black with red trim, just a fantastic minifigure as well.
I don't know if you saw this month in the I know Seamus did a video. There you go, he gets his shout out straight away. But this week they had this. I don't know if you can really see it, but the Miles Morales on a skateboard in the Spider-Man magazine.
Yeah,
which is a pretty cool.
Yeah, that version of Miles Morales is similar to one that you get in the Daily Bugle, minus the skateboard. Like the overall look is similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I've been very tempted by the Morbius set, so I may have to pick that up at some point.
I think if I had the choice between getting Morbius versus Miles Morales and Penguin versus Batman, get Penguin versus Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a great build.
That is one of my favourite DC sets. Like that one, it's just beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that is Lego Live Stories. It's nice to see that all three of us have had relatively quiet weeks. But what hasn't been quiet has been the fact that Lego have released some official images of a lot of the topics that we have been discussing, not just on the podcast, but also on TikTok lives as well, and things that have been on Instagram. And I'm going to address the rather large elephant in the room, which is the Lord of the Rings Rivendell set. We've got our official images. The images are on the Lego store as well. You can go and find them. I was scrolling through a little bit before we came on to record, and I'm not going to lie to you, gents. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful set.
I looked on the Lego post on Facebook, which is a dangerous thing, looking in the comment section on Facebook normally. I didn't see one negative comment. I mean, how rare is that for a Lego set or anything on Facebook? There was not one negative comment. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, no division. It does look the part. It looks some size, and the 15 minifigures. You know, the way they've developed them from the older sets. You know, they look really good.
Yeah, and the fact as well, it's like something like 6,100 pieces as well for like £424 is just wow. I think if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, this is a must-have for any collection. I think even if you're not invested in Lord of the Rings like we are, or anything like that, I still think it's worth having because just the sheer displayability of that set, it looks fantastic. The colour scheme is what really drew me. It's different, it's fun, it's just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And I went back to, because we heard rumours very early on that this is what it was going to be. So going months and months back, I went back and listened to, I think it was our second episode of the Pound of Bricks podcast, where we discussed the fact that we had heard rumours it was Rivendell and all of our kind of ideas of what it was going to be. And it kind of surpassed everything, like even our expectations. We were sort of saying it might be this or this, and it kind of has merged all of them in such a great way. And like you said, Jim, the minifigs, they've moved them on all very subtly, but all new minifigs, all looking amazing. Great selection, and it's everyone that we would have wanted in there. So you can't really fault them on this one.
I mean, who is actually going to buy it though out of the three of us? Because £424 is a lot of money when you think about that. I mean, I know who probably will buy it because he buys everything, and that is shout out to Mr. M Bishop. He will probably buy that because he does, and I think there'll be a few of our friends in the US who listen to the podcast as well who are definitely going to pick this up. But before we came online, Kate said to me, "Are you going to get it because it looks amazing?" And I was like, I don't know. £324 is a lot of money. So £424 is a lot of money, and it looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, oh, I missed out on Lord of the Rings last time. You know, it
is a lot. I do think it will probably drop down to 400, which still doesn't seem like a big drop. I am definitely going to get it, but not straight away. I'm kind of going to squirrel away a few pounds here and there and just wait and wait. Even if I end up getting it next year, I think a lot of people did a similar thing with like the UCS Millennium Falcon, things like that, where they've just kind of squirreled away a bit of money. It's one of those things I regret not getting any of the Lord of the Rings sets originally, I don't see how I could not get this eventually. It just, I think, and it will be my biggest ever Lego purchase. So yeah, but I have kind of said to myself, we'll get this one.
Yeah, and when we go back to Brickfest as well, ironically, where we had this conversation about the possibility of like a UCS collector's style Lord of the Rings set, you look at the price of Lord of the Rings sets available at Brickfest, and it take the price of Rivendell and times that by like 10, and that is some of the sets that were there. So it shows to me that the demand for it is just staggering. I think it's like is it 8th of March, the release date or something like that for it?
I think so. Yeah, I think for general public. Yeah.
And it's 5th of March, I think, for VIP. You're definitely going to get your Lord of the Rings fans, that are your diehards, that are going to come in and just buy that from the get go. Your Lego fans, you know, some people get it at the start, but it will be, you know, wait off a little while. It will come down in price. You will get the sales somewhere where you maybe get it sub 400, but you know, it is an icon set, and it's an iconic scene. You know, all the scenes around Rivendell. You know, and they've put them all in there, which is just unbelievable that you can see everything that happened at Rivendell in those movies, and it'll probably birth a load of people interest in the films again, a new generation, which is good.
Yeah, I mean,
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, because if you think about when Lord of the Rings was released, and look at now, it's like what Return of the King was released in 2003, so 20 years ago, Return of the King came out. It's like, wow.
That's crazy.
That's mad. But it's not just Rivendell as well. We've got some images for, because we've also had some images for the new Indiana Jones stuff, which I must admit I was a bit skeptical of, but they actually do look quite nice. So
sorry, I'll let you go, Jim.
You go, Jim.
Yeah, I kind of like. Obviously, you got the three covers that of the boxes that were coming out. Seeing them, you couldn't really see much of Escape from the Lost Tomb, but I really liked the look of the fighter plane chase. You know, the plane looked good, the car looked good. Obviously, you get Junior and Senior in the car. I think that's the one to buy, but that's obviously the smaller of the three sets. And then obviously the Temple of Doom, which is the bigger of the three sets. Look, you know, not my favourite of the films, but the set looked pretty good compared to the Escape from the Tomb. Obviously, we've not seen what the diorama, which is the fourth set that's coming out at that time, but definitely the fighter plane chase is definitely a buyer for me.
I'll fight you for the last one, Jimmy. I'm not gonna lie, you know, like the last one, Jim, is like the fighter plane chase was the one that I was instantly just like, oh my god, I want this now. Take my money. Yeah. It's beautiful.
I feel like I want to see them. I was less skeptical. I was very excited about this, and I feel like I get that they are the most iconic scenes, but they feel like they've been done before, and that sounds really bad coming from a Lego Star Wars fan. When everything's been done 10 times before. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to see something really different, and that might be the case when we get the diorama set, or even just presented in a different way. It just feels like similar things again. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I need to wait and see some proper images before I make any judgments. But I wasn't wowed by any of it.
No, that's fine. You know, I think it's one good thing about having a podcast that talks about Lego is it's always good that it breeds difference of opinion. And my next point of conversation, because obviously this is our first topic, so I thought it'd be nice to ease three very diehard Lego fans all in the same time zone. So, you know, we can all sort of have time to sort of do this one. There's obviously as well, Hocus Pocus has been rumoured, which I myself, the first Hocus Pocus is one of my guilty pleasure movies. Absolutely love that. The Sanderson sisters' house. I just think that is fantastic. And then there's obviously the Zelda one as well. I mean, if you're a fan of the classic Zelda games and the recent ones as well, it's all there for you. If you like your classic family movies, you've got options there with both of them. And I think those two, for your non-themed like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Marvel, DC, whatever, I think those are going to do really well just for something a little bit different as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hocus Pocus, not a set for me, but I know that sets like that, things like the Haunted Mansion, and like other sort of Halloween-y themed sets always do really well. They're always really popular sets, so I think that would be a good move for Lego. I think that would sell well. The Link Zelda one, I think it was you, Jim, that pointed out that it was Link.
Yeah.
We saw the pictures. I hadn't spotted it. I've never played Zelda before, but that does look like a really nice set. It looks like a really good build. So I would definitely be tempted by that, even though I'm not a Zelda fan or never played any of the games. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what audiences these kind of draw in, but I think both will be popular. Game ones always tend to be popular, and I know that Zelda is massive, so I think it will be a popular one.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the Horizon Zero Dawn as well, just to chip in on that one. That one is a beautiful set as well, and that's the only one we've had of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. There's definitely quite a lot of, obviously, leaks this week, and as you say, that's a bit of variety that isn't the niche genre sets that we've got between Harry Potter and Star Wars, so it gives a bit for everybody out there. As I say, I looked up kind of zoomed into those pictures, and that's how I picked out Link in that. And I went, because obviously everybody thought it was a kind of Lord of the Rings, it's a tree, it's maybe something to go with Rivendell. But looking into it, is the Great Deku Tree. So you're getting the Great Deku Tree with Link and Zelda and another character which I couldn't pick out. And then obviously the one that stood out for me was the art set, the Gotham City. I thought that looked,
that's beautiful.
The colours in that really stood out.
It looks massive. Yeah. I don't know what the actual size is, but even like it looks like it's going to dwarf the sort of Darth Vader, the triple Darth Vader set. If you put all the Star Wars art sets together, so yeah, God knows what the price is going to be of that. But yeah, that does look incredible.
I think one thing that kind of harking on to what Jim said, looking at these images, one thing that really I thought was interesting was the rumoured X-Men, the Mana set, which was, I mean, I'm all for it, but I was a bit surprised as well at the same time. I thought if you're going to do X-Men, you'd do maybe like the Blackbird or something like that. Something that's it's safe to go for if you're going to release like Lego X-Men as a theme, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. But then if you look at how popular Daily Bugle's been, Avengers Tower when that came out was super popular. So I do think these buildings are a lot of people like the buildings, don't they? So yeah, I think it will be a winner. I think that could have a massive minifig selection as well.
Yeah, just based on the images alone, I think there's at least a dozen that I've seen just in the original Leaks image, and then there's probably one or two inside the buildings that we've not seen. So, I mean, I'm curious. It could be a really good, if not highly expensive, time to be a Lego fan, because there's all these cool sets out there, and you think to yourself, we always say, don't we, budget is key. Don't try and stretch yourself too thin. But I think in this instance, even if you budget, you're gonna stretch yourself even thin, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how genuine obviously that one is, but obviously we've had the Bugle like late 2021, the Sanctum late 2022. So what we get in late 2023, is it the X-Men mansion? Is it a legit picture? Yeah, we could get a lot of characters with it. Yes, X-Men 97 is coming to Disney Plus late this year. Is it going to tie into that? But there's also been a rumour that we're getting Spider-Man No Way Home Statue of Liberty scene, which is going to be a big set as well. But that could be rumoured. We're obviously dealing in rumours and leaked pictures. But either of those sets, I'd be up for buying. Obviously, I've got the Sanctum and I've got the Daily Bugle, so I'd definitely, Marvel fans are going to jump on them.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. But yeah, I mean, like you said, if you look across all these leaks, they do seem to be catering for absolutely everyone at the moment, going really varied. God knows what they're putting, like how much they're putting out. I mean, just going through the January sets that were released, I mean, normally I just focus on Star Wars, but I had to flick through. It's just hundreds of sets that are released in every wave, and you forget that there's so many. You look at Lego City and Harry Potter and Star Wars, and then you've got all the other themes, like Friends had a huge relaunch as well at the beginning of the year. There just seems to be something for everyone at the moment. It'll be interesting to see whether that continues, whether Lego are going to continue churning out this many, or whether they begin to scale back when they find out what's working and what isn't. Obviously, they like to drop themes as quickly as they bring them in.
Well,
sorry, Lego Doll.
Definitely. January was there was quite a lot of releases. February 1st, there seemed to be it quieting down a bit. But if you look at March 1st, like obviously you get all the Speed Champions, there's some more Marvel stuff coming out. There's a whole host of things listed what March the 1st, and you're like, all right, okay. Every couple of months, we're going to have a huge wave released with one big release. And then obviously we go to May, 2 months away down from March, and you've got the Star Wars releases. It's not going to stop. They're just going to steamroller as this year for money.
Yeah,
it almost. I mean, what it has done for me is that last year I felt like I kind of kept on top of what was coming out, whereas this year, already looking at the leaks, I'm like, right, I'm not even going to consider getting everything I want. I'm going to be really picky this year and just pick out those ones. And actually, I think it has helped me focus on what do I really want and what don't I want. So, yeah, I think hopefully this year I can be a bit more picky and select sets better than I did last year. I think I just got everything Star Wars last year.
story of everyone's life, I think, really.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely not. No, I mean, yeah, I think, again, just to reiterate a point that Jim said, we all deal in rumours, speculation. Is not always 9 times out of 10, a lot of the things that we talk about are never true. We kind of just go off, say, a rumoured image or a rumoured conversation or something like that. So, again, it's all hypothetical. We don't exactly know. We don't have first-hand information. And if we were, we'd have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And, otherwise we'd have to get the lawyers involved and they'd send, people round. And it'd all be very much hush-hush. And then we'd all disappear and you'd never see us ever again.
I actually had to sign one of those this week. I showed you guys, but
Yeah.
I can't really say much on the podcast, but I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with Lego, which was mad when I was doing it, but very exciting.
Yeah,
and I will let everyone know as soon as I'm allowed to let everyone know.
I mean, most people would be excited if it was like, say, oh, you've been offered to become a football player, or you've been offered the chance to do this or that, and it's like you're just like, oh yeah, Lego, I'll take that. Yeah, let's go for it.
I was very excited.
I mean, I was excited for you when I left work when I got your message and I read it and I was just like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah. It shows what posting silly videos on TikTok or where it can get you.
Hey, if it works, keep it going. The wheel doesn't need changing. Why bother? There you go.
Absolutely.
Right. So that was our first topic. Sorry for all of you who are listening and watching. It dragged on a little bit, but obviously you get 3 massive Lego nerds on a podcast together. We're going to talk. We apologise in advance. And it's kind of fitting, really, that we're talking about January 1st and the releases and Marvel and things like that, because for our second topic for tonight's episode of the Fandom podcast, I'd like to talk about a topic that myself and Jim became very, very good friends over. It is something that has been a staple of our relationship, and it's how we have bonded, and that is mystery minifigures. Because for those of you who don't go and follow TheLeckoid on TikTok, you definitely should. And if you're not, what are you doing? Go and follow the guy, please. We have had this in joke for a long time since we've gotten to know each other through TikTok and posting videos and content and things like that. And it's about mystery minifigures. Now, those of you who religiously follow my content will know that my mystery minifigure pack look is absolutely abysmal. But for January this year, the 2 figures that I really wanted in the mystery minifigure line, I got both of them, and I've just stopped collecting it now because the 2 that I wanted, I got. So for me, I peaked at this range. And it got me thinking, because Disney are doing Disney 100, we've got a few announcements of some of the minifigures in Disney 100 mystery minifigures. And there's also another rumour of a Marvel second series of mystery minifigures. I thought, let's get 3 nerds on a podcast to talk about mystery minifigures, and specifically, let's talk about Disney, let's talk about Marvel, because they're both properties that are linked. Disney owns Marvel, etc. And let's just kind of go from there. So, obviously, we've seen the lineup for the Disney 100. What do we think?
I think there's some standouts. Definitely for me. I think it's going to be personal choice. Your favourite Disney films. Standouts for me, Magician Mickey from Fantasia. Definitely with the mop in the bucket. Stitch, Lilo and Stitch, he's just a great character. I loved Coco. So the 2 Coco sets with Ernesto de la Cruz and Miguel with Dante is definitely there. And when I was younger, Robin Hood was one of my favourites. So Robin Hood and Prince John, definitely ones. And Big Hero 6, you're getting a Baymax, definitely a big choices for myself. But will they be in bags or will they be in boxes?
Oh, that age-old question.
Hopefully bags. I mean, going back to what you said earlier, Josh, this series 24, I've got 12 so far, and I've got 11 of the characters. So I've only missed on one of them so far, which is a great hit rate for me.
Which one? Which one are you missing?
I'm missing the Paperboy.
Oh, okay.
Just can't find that little bag. I've been stood around like this, looking like a weirdo in B&M for ages.
Well, this is the thing though. Like, I got the minifigures that I wanted, and I got no duplicates. So for me, my pack look is I've broken the curse. I'm happy with that. I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm not buying any more mystery minifigures now. That is me done.
Hitting 100 there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And
go on. Going back to the Disney ones, it was really funny because the sort of list leaked the day after I had a bit of a meltdown with Jacob because he told me he'd never seen the original Disney Robin Hood, and so we literally had watched it the day before because he told me he hadn't seen it. So I was like, right, let's sit down, we're going to watch this. And then the next day he gets told that he can get a Robin Hood Lego minifigure, and perfect. So that was those two, Prince John and Robin Hood were the standouts for me, but probably down a similar route as Jim. The Coco ones I thought sounded really cool. I loved that film as well. And Baymax. I think that may be the one that I think people are going to really want overall. I think that's in sort of 5-6 years' time. That's going to be the one that everybody's like, oh, I wish I'd got that Baymax. Yeah. So really great lineup. But yeah, those are the standout ones for me.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I'm going to be really boring and just agree with the two of you. I think definitely Baymax is definitely the standout of the line, and I think that one will be the hardest one to find. And I would not be surprised if Lego have cottoned onto that possibility and they're like, oh, we know people want this. Let's release loads of other characters, and then let's without every 100 that they release, there's one that's a Baymax. The rest are all other minifigures. I wouldn't be surprised because that's what I would do. Smart business strategy, to be perfectly honest with you. But
people buying,
yeah,
especially if they are in boxes, then 100% that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
In bags, I feel like Baymax might be an easy one to feel out.
Exactly.
Hopefully, if he's a bit bigger anyway.
Yeah, and I mean Fantasia as well. I think it's the iconic Disney movie, isn't it? It's one of those ones that you instantly recognise. And if you remember, for years the old Disney logo used to be similar to Fantasia, didn't it? With things like that. And for those of you who are unaware, that in my case, Kate, Mrs. Galaxy of Bricks, she's a massive Disney pin collector. So for her, Disney is her life. When they announced that they were doing a Disney mystery minifigures bags, the look of absolute adulation on her face was like, yes. I was like, you don't really collect Lego, but I know that is one thing that you are totally going to invest your time and money in. You're going to be there in Tesco's or Asda, feeling up bags of mystery minifigures, getting really annoyed if you get multiples of Lilo and Stitch and not the ones that you want. So I get it. It's one of those things. I think because Disney's celebrating its 100th anniversary and Disney is the hottest it's ever been. You look at all the pies that Disney has its fingers in, Marvel, Star Wars, it's got a lot of different things. I think to release this now is possibly the smartest strategy in collaboration between the two parties. And I think if this sells on well and it goes, which it will, and it goes as expected, I think we'll see a lot more Lego Disney-esque style things to come in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more brickheads, because obviously there's some Lego brickheads coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if we got maybe some non-Friends kind of Disney-themed sets. So Disney 100, I think, will be really good for mystery minifigures, and I think those completionists will spend an awful lot of money, and those people who have secondary Lego shops and things like that and who trade in minifigures, I think they're going to make an absolute wedge.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that Lego will probably lean towards this being almost as regular as their series line of CMF. I think that there's so many characters within Disney or under the umbrella of Disney now that they could easily do this, and I don't want them to, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were £4 instead of £3.50, just like a small little bump. You're paying for the brand, aren't you? So I wouldn't be surprised if they bumped it a little bit. I think they've seen how popular these lines are. I know that people weren't overly enthusiastic, and I know we'll get onto Marvel next time. People weren't overly sold on the Marvel minifigures last time. There are a few cool ones in there, but I know that there are a few that people weren't fussed about. But the Muppets were hugely successful, and then obviously the last two series they've done, 23 and 24, I've never seen them about as much as I have recently. There just seems to be boxes. I mean, we live like right next door to a Morrison's, and I've never seen any Lego sold in there, and they've got boxes and boxes of series 24 in there now. So it's interesting kind of seeing it spread everywhere. It's really dangerous, by the way, living next to a shop that sells Lego now, but I've got to live with it.
Yeah, we've got Smiths down the road from us, so you can imagine the amount of weekends that I spend frequenting Smiths. I might as well just get a job there.
Yeah. I mean, I keep saying that to myself about Lego. That would be a nice one. Just go and work there.
It's every person's dream, isn't it?
Yeah,
most definitely.
But obviously, we've spoken about Disney. Let's move on to Marvel now. As Sam rightfully said, we had the last season's we had the last series of Marvel mystery minifigures, which was all like Marvel What If and things like that. And there were some really nice figures in there, but it wasn't great. And it makes me wonder if Marvel do decide to go for another Lego mystery minifigure line, what would they do? Would they do similar to what they did before, knowing that it wasn't maybe as hit out of the park as it could have been? Would they maybe do something based on the Infinity Saga? Would they do something that isn't based on the movies and the TV series? Because I think there's a lot of different ways for them to go. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you reckon? Who wants to take up this question first?
I mean, you're the Marvel guy, Jim. You go first.
I think it'll be the same again. I don't think it'll be a what if line, but I do think they'll delve into the TV shows, because they're not going to make sets from the TV shows. They're going to make sets from the movies. So things like Moon Knight. When are you going to get a Moon Knight? When are you going to get a Mr. Knight? A Scarlet Scarab? Throw those in. More Loki series 2's coming later this year. Who's the big bad in that? You get another Loki. The Ironheart series is coming. I know we got Ironheart in the Black Panther, the new Black Panther series, so they might not touch on that. But then you've got Secret Invasion as well coming up. So, if you're going to have Skrulls and stuff like that in, you're going to get Talos and things like that. We had She-Hulk, but there's been no figures of that. You're not going to get a set from that. So you're going to get She-Hulk. Are you going to get that special Daredevil that was in She-Hulk? You got Titania. There's quite a lot of ideas coming from there. They did the Werewolf by Night special. They could do that. Agatha's getting her own show, but she wasn't in the last. Obviously, we got Vision and Wanda, but we didn't get Agatha. There's a lot I think they'll pull from the TV shows because they will be bringing out. We'll get Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania sets. We'll get Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, we know we're going to get Guardians of the Galaxy 3 sets with the helmet and obviously the new ship that's going to be coming out. So those sets are going to be covered. So a CMF line has to be pulled from the TV shows again. But they need to up their game with what figures, which I think they could. I think the Moon Knight ones will be a big pull, and like a She-Hulk, especially if they give us Daredevil in the yellow and red.
Yeah. When I watched Moon Knight, I've never ever done this with any, or never felt this as passionately as I did when I was watching Moon Knight, in that I needed to have a Moon Knight minifig. I've never felt like that about any other show ever, and sat there and been like, I have to own this. But that's how I felt about Moon Knight. I was even like scowling online. I was like trying to find someone who's made like fake or like custom ones. It's such a cool look. Yeah. I loved Moon Knight, and I think it's part of the problem, especially with like What If. I watched What If, and half of the episodes I really liked, and half of them I wasn't fussed on, and I think that's how I felt about the minifigs as well. And I think that's how a lot of people will feel about the TV if they do, which I do think they will do, based on the TV shows. They seem to be quite divided in that some people have really loved a show and then not been fussed on others. But I think, yeah, like you say, I think there's so much coming up. There's so much that's already been out that they haven't touched on. So we haven't mentioned Falcon and Winter Soldier as well as another one that they could draw on. So I do think that's the way they're going to go. But my I mean, when you said we were going to talk about Marvel, like personal preference, I'd like them to go back to like golden era of comics and do like original comic versions of characters. I think they would make really cool, like just, and not even like overly detail them, just go back to like really plain, almost like you go back to like original Lego Star Wars minifigs where there's just like blocks of color on certain things. I just think that era of like the original Marvel comic books would suit itself really well to minifigs. If they got the color palette right, I think they could make some really cool minifigs there. So that would be what I would want them to do. But I do think that they will go down the TV show route because, like I say, I don't think they are going to make any sets. They'll just focus on the films for that. So yeah, that's what I'd like.
No, that's really good. And I mean, with you saying about the whole like original Marvel color palette thing, it also got me thinking. I was thinking you could do something similar with like DC as well. Like obviously Marvel and DC, we know that Marvel is a superior property in Lego's eyes. That's why they market Marvel a lot more, and DC they kind of focus on Batman. And it kind of got me thinking as like a minifigure line. Just as we've been having this conversation, it'd be cool to have like 1960s Batman as like a minifigure line, and you could get like Batman, Robin, Commissioner Gordon in like the 1960s aesthetic with some of the other characters and things like that. And you could maybe do what if and like hypothetical ones based on like comic book series and things like that. That I think would be a cool kind of change of pace. Instead of picking like specific TV shows, just base it on the actual comics, because 9 times out of 10 they're not going to make sets about a comic book series, or they're going to make a set about a specific comic book. So why not do a mystery minifigure line about, say, a series of comic books that they know people are going to really want to be interested in, because people will buy it and it makes a lot of sense.
I just think they know now that a large portion of their audience aren't kids anymore. I mean, a lot of us have grown up, and I think they know that even though, I mean, I'm speaking from a parent's point of view as well, I'm happy to go out and buy Jacob some CMFs as well. So I think it's like trying to cater for as many people as possible. And I think if you stick to those core characters in either DC or Marvel, then I think you're going to be onto a winner. I think it will be really, like you say, Lego obviously prefer Marvel. They like to kind of push Marvel as much as possible. It'll be really interesting in the next few years when this new DC slate comes out, and whether if it is coherent, then DC might have another push again at Lego. But DC's always been a bit more maturely themed than Marvel, so I think Lego obviously lends itself better to represent Marvel, maybe.
Yeah, but that's the thing that obviously you've tapped into it. Like Lego are cottoning on to, that a lot of these people are adults now. So obviously it's a Star Wars, it's the Marvel. We'll tap into that. With DC, something it could tap into is the Batman animated series. I know obviously Josh, you said the 1960s series, but the Batman animated series had so many good villains, so many good heroes introduced into it. They could just bring that as a CMF series. Not obviously sets, but you could bring that as a series, which would be it would fly off the shelf because
Jim, take
Batman.
my money now. Take my money now. Batman Beyond as well.
Yeah,
is a good one. Yeah, like the colour palette of Batman Beyond would be fantastic. Imagine Batman Beyond as like a minifigure line. That would be brilliant. Like that dark Batman from Batman Beyond as a minifigure. Love it.
Yeah.
Want it. Like just do it. Come on.
That's how you get them to do it. Just tell them.
Come on, Lego.
I mean,
listen in.
Yeah. Come on. We're 3 guys on a podcast. Do it now. I mean, we could also talk about Star Wars as a mystery minifigure line, but I think we've done that to death. I think as much as we would love a Star Wars mystery minifigure line, it's just a too hyped kind of. It's such a big thing that they could go multiple different ways with it as well. If they were to do like a mystery minifigure Star Wars line, because it's like, would you do one based on movies? Would you do one based on Legends or the Expanded Universe? Would you kind of go along that kind of line? And I think Star Wars is just too much of a property to do a mystery minifigure line, but DC Marvel definitely has the potential to grow into something phenomenal as well.
Yeah, I do think so, and I think the longer Star Wars shies away from releasing movies, the bigger DC and Marvel, or at least Marvel, are going to get within Lego. I do think it will get, if they don't start releasing movies soon, there will come a time where Marvel will be the big kind of front runner in the amount of sets that they're releasing. I think in January, Star Wars obviously only released 4, but then like Jim said, there's releases in March again, then there's releases in May again, and it's constantly coming. But at some point that will slow down if they don't start releasing new varied content. So it will be interesting to kind of see later down the line where it leads to. But certainly Star Wars CMFs. I have a topic for another time, which I'll talk to you guys about afterwards. Star Wars is missing. I might as well just say it now. Star Wars is missing a huge part of Star Wars. Lego's missing a huge part of Star Wars. They have not. It hasn't even been discussed. High Republic is huge now. The amount of content that is there, and I mean, even if you go into like they release all this like concept artwork from where they have all those writers meetings and things, and it's as good as like the concept art for like the original trilogy, prequel trilogy. It's amazing, and I just think that is the way that it looks. I think would just sell so much. I know that I will jump at it. I think it's just because it's not as widely known yet, but I definitely think that that's something Lego could do. So a topic for another time will be for us to maybe discuss what sets they could do from High Republic.
Yeah, that would be a good one. And I think that segue, Sam, is taking us very nicely to our final aspect of the Fandom Bricks podcast. Now, for a lot of you regulars who tune in week by week and take part in our podcast polls and things like that, and we like to change things up. Normally we'll do a Lego draft of our top 5 villains in minifigure form, or we'll do our top 5 sets and things like that. But because we have got TheLeckoid with us this week and Sam is back as well, I posed a very interesting question, and as you can tell by the content of tonight's episode, January 1st has become a very big talking point. So, to my co-host and my guest for the evening, I posed a question. It's 2024. You guys have been given the chance by Lego to release 5 Star Wars sets of a specific criteria. And we decided, let's do a top 5 of our own personal choice, and you, the people, get to decide. There will be a poll somewhere at the bottom. Sam will sort all that out. He's a whiz. He does all these things, But you get to decide which of the 3 of us has got possibly the best one. And also, maybe in 12 months' time, if this works, we could come back to this episode of the podcast with TheLeckoid and Sam, and we see how accurate we were and how totally off kilter we were. Because
any that we get right, the others have to buy for us, right?
Hey, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not agreeing to anything. I'm not signing any contracts or forms until I know how this is going to work. But if you want to discuss it with my attorney or camera, Sam, I can arrange that for you.
Great.
So, basically, for this draft of sorts, we are going to be we're going to be designing our own hypothetical January 1st wave. And the criterion is we must each have 1 microfighter, 1 battle pack, 1 brickhead, 1 helmet, because Star Wars helmets are very much in right now, and 1 large set that is £60 plus, which is similar in sort of price and brick to the recently released TIE Bomber. Now, I hope the 3 of us don't clash, but I have a sneaky suspicion that we will. And what we'll do is we'll kind of, each of us will go through each category, and then we'll have a little bit of a talking point at the end, what we think, and we'll kind of track onto that at the very end. So, Leckoid...
Just really quickly before we start,
go on.
Josh, you said something just before we started recording that makes me think there's going to be clashes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to...
It was about what's being released later this year, so I'm fully expecting clashes.
Yeah. Have either of you guys got backups if we do clash?
In some areas I have.
Yeah, I have in a couple, but I think if we do clash, it's not so bad in this instance because it's a hypothetical line. It just means that we all want the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, Leckoid, as our guest for tonight's episode, you get the option. Would you like to go first on this one, or would you like to delegate the first to myself or Sam?
On the first one, I'll delegate to one of you. I'll delegate to Sam. Because he's coming back, I'll let Sam go first.
Okay.
So what are we going for first, Josh?
Okay, so...
I've got Brickhead on my list.
Okay, so we'll kick... Yeah, do you know what? Okay, we'll kick off with Brickheads. So, it's January 2024. You are about to unveil the Star Wars wave. You've got your first brickhead of the year in Star Wars. What are you going for?
Well, since we've just finished the new Ahsoka show, and everybody's been jettisoned off into the chaos, the unknown regions, I thought it would be only fitting if we have a Grand Admiral brickhead.
Oh,
In January.
oh, you had the same as me, didn't you, Jimmy? Oh, the three of us. Oh,
I do have a backup for that one, though. I do have a backup for that.
No way have we all gone for that.
Oh,
yeah.
How good would that look, though? The blue, the white.
So good.
Yeah, the red eyes,
Yep.
everything.
That is unreal.
Oh,
I knew it. I knew that was going to happen.
and do you know what? As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh God, if he's gone this route, I am gonna be like, oh, brilliant.
Knew it.
I do have a couple of backups.
Jim's got a
I do have
backup.
a
Jim's got a backup.
Because I did think, when obviously me and Josh talked about it's the 10th anniversary of Rebels in 2024, we are just after Ahsoka. Thrawn might be the go-to. It will look great, but with it being, the end of Ahsoka and the 10th anniversary, I think ideal double pack like we had with Obi-Wan and Vader is Zeb and Chopper.
Ooh,
That would be Zeb would be really cool.
I went the same thought as you, Jim, but I went Kanan and Hera.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Let's just get all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, do you know what?
Sabine and Zeb.
Yeah.
We'll have Kanan and Hera, and then Ezra and Chopper.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for
So
it.
and then Thrawn is like an added bonus, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thrawn and Rook.
Thrawn and Agent Callus.
Nice. Hot Callus.
Okay, so that was the brickheads done. I think it's fair to say we've got our first clash, but it's good that we've got backup. So yeah. So just to reiterate, all three of us for the brickheads did say Thrawn.
Yep.
So that's fine. But it's good that we've got some backups as well. So our next category, gentlemen, will be the battle pack. So who wants to go first on this one? Would you like to go first, LeckoId? Would you like to go first, Sam? Would you like me to go first? Who wants to go first?
Oh, you love a battle pack. You go first.
Okay, so it's obviously my thought process was we've recently had the Clone Specialist Battle Pack 501st. So a year from now, let's go for a Battle Droid Specialist Battle Pack. So specifically, it would be a battle pack consisting of 2 B1 battle droids, a B2 super battle droid, and a commando droid.
Nice. I mean, we all know that B1 Battle Droid made it into my top 5 Star Wars minifigs.
Yeah.
So I'm fully on board, Josh.
Yeah, and again, my thought process was it wouldn't be, you maybe get like one standard B1, or you would get, let's say, like a B1 sharpshooter, and then you would get like something else as well. So it's kind of like just a bit of diversity for the battle pack sort of collectors and army builders out there.
Nice.
Yeah. So in that case, then, so that was my choice. LeckoId, what have you gone for?
For battle pack, I've gone for, because obviously it was Dream Picks. I went for Republic Commandos because I loved that game on the original Xbox, and obviously I thought those 4 would be a great battle pack.
Nice.
Yeah, that is all. I want some sort of way of lighting up their visors as
Yeah,
well.
and it's
Be sick.
yeah, and I think that's possibly the most likely shout as well, because we've had Commandos featured in the Bad Batch, and they've also appeared in Clone Wars as well. So I mean, I'm all for that. Like, you know what I mean? If they don't make my Battle Droid one, make a Clone Commandos one like that. Yes, take my money. Right, go on, Sam. It's your turn. What have you gone for?
Okay, so I have gone for a Jedi battle pack, but not named Jedi. Like, if you're building up some sort of Jedi army, or like Jedi versus Sith battle or something, just like generic Jedi robes, just different kind of different species, like just a complete mix match of Jedi, but have them so that you could swap them around, move them, like have different torsos on different legs and things, so that you could create lots of different variants of Jedi. Almost like, I'm thinking like the Man United brickheads or whatever, the custom brickheads where you've got all the different hairs, and almost like that, like a battle pack where you customize your own Jedi and you can create your own little Jedi battle pack. That would be awesome, and I would pick up a lot of those.
I love that. As soon as you started saying it and talking about it, I was like, I instantly thought of Jedi Bob. And I'm like, I'm going to get Jedi Steve and Jedi Dave.
Exactly.
Jedi.
They're all going to be
Here he
around
is.
the cantina.
I would love it because I think there's so many Jedi out there, especially in the prequels. But like I mentioned earlier, I had the High Republic on my mind because I just finished one of the books, and there's just at that point there's thousands of Jedi out there, and I just thought it would be really cool. Like we all have this at some point. Someone is going to make a film where there's like a big Jedi versus Sith battle. Like at some point that has to happen, and I just think it would be really cool to like create your own kind of army of Jedi. I think it would be cool.
No, it's good. And then to just thinking about what you said, Sam, you could also do like, say, for example, you could do like a human Jedi, a Togruta Jedi, a Twi'lek, and a Zabrak, and you can kind of like mix and match. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Okay, so I think that's good. We didn't get any clashes on the Battle Pack, gentlemen, so that's very good. So that's the Brickheads done, the Battle Pack's done. Now, this one, I feel we may clash on. I have a sneaky feeling one of us will clash, and that is the Microfighter.
Shall I go first for this one?
I think so, Sam.
Okay.
I'm not convinced I will clash. I was more thinking minifigs. Obviously, you want a half-decent minifig with a microfighter. And because these minifigs have only ever been in expensive sets, I was thinking they might go for a Havoc Marauder, so a microfighter Havoc Marauder, and have one of the Bad Batch, maybe Hunter or maybe Omega, whichever one that they go for. Obviously, they've got their choice. But yeah, I thought a Havoc Marauder would be quite a cool little microfighter. I know we've had like the mini version in the advent calendar, but yeah, that's what I went for.
Nice, solid. I mean, it's very fitting because Bad Batch season 2 is out, and obviously come sort of January, Bad Batch season 3. So that's a solid shout. I mean, if we look back at this in a year's time and that does happen, hey, there you go. Those non-disclosure agreements are certainly working in your favour.
Yeah.
Right, Jimmy, what have you gone for? Come tell me.
This one was the most difficult one that I had to think of, but then it just came to me, and I was like, yes, I would like to see a big version of this, but just this, like, to get the minifigure, is a Stinger Mantis with Cal Kestis.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, nice.
They've done Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
It's got to happen at some point. That's a great shout.
That is a really good shout. Do you know what?
I want it now.
That is definitely a really good option. I don't even think I need to go next. I'm going to just stick with that one. That's possibly the best option.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
Ugh.
What did you have, Josh?
I went really boring. I figured because it's very much at the height of Star Wars right now. We've had a playset version. We've had multiple variants of this one. I said
For the Razor Crest.
no. I have gone for a microfighter scale version of Mando's M1 Starfighter.
Nice. The only thing I would say about that is that there is a very good rebrickable of the Razor Crest microfighter that came out. You can literally make the N1 Starfighter out of it by using the exact same pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lego loves Mando, don't they?
Yeah.
As many Mandos as they can get out.
That was the thought process that I was going with. I kind of sat there and thought, you know what? They've done like 4 versions of the Razor Crest. He doesn't have the Razor Crest anymore. He's got Mando Starfighter. Let them just make a microfighter out of it and see how we get on. That was the thought process I was going for.
That's naive of you, Josh, because you don't understand Disney marketing, because he will crash his M1 Starfighter in season 3 and he'll have a new ship by the end of it that we'll then have to pay another £70 to buy.
Indeed.
Hey, I'm just saying, milk the train while it's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
this is the one. What are we going to next? Are we going helmets next?
Yeah, we're going helmets next because I feel like the large set one we need to finish off with because I think it's going to be really good options. So Star Wars helmets are pretty big right now. We've obviously had some announcements for the new one. They've also made their way into Marvel as well. And I thought, why not give it a go? So Star Wars helmets, I'll go first on this one because my thought process was they would go for a helmet of the Purge Trooper from Jedi Fallen Order / Jedi Survivor and go for that one.
Nice. I think they've done the clone troopers. I think that they will go back to stormtroopers, paratroopers, something like that at some point. I think that's a great shout.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of fits in because the game's coming out, in the next few months and things like that. And we never got any Lego sets related to, as you rightfully said, Fallen Order.
We got BD1.
We got BD1, but like play sets or anything like that, or battle packs or anything like that, we did. The Purge Trooper's pretty big in like the Black Series 3 3/4 inch and 6-inch mini scale figures. So I figured test it with a helmet. So yeah, that was my choice.
Nice. Jim, you want to go next?
This is one I thought we would class really on. So I picked 3. But yeah, I just feel the best one that we could get is because of the colours will be Sabine Wren's helmet.
Awesome. Great shout. She was Sabine and Bo-Katan were the first 2 that popped into my head, and then I thought, how are they going to get the detail for those helmets in that scale? Which is why I didn't go for them. But I do think Sabine is a great shout, and she's got it would be great if they just had like the base, and then they gave you the option to build either of her helmets or model helmets. That would be really whatever design you go for. Yeah,
that is nice. That is nice.
And again, fits with the Rebels 2.0 Ahsoka series theme. That's good. Mine does not.
What have you gone for?
I went way out of... I just don't think LEGO will ever dive into this again, but I think it's too cool not to do. And I went with Emphas Nest.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be a really cool, like, with the spikes coming up behind her, and like, I just, that helmet is so good. That design of that character is so good. I just think that would be an awesome helmet to have. The only thing I did think about, though, when you look at the Star Wars helmets in a row, they are very generic. So far, they haven't really like pushed the boat out really anywhere. They haven't gone for any. Like you look at Star-Lord's helmet, and it's just completely different, isn't it? So I thought I'd try and find something a little bit different, a bit more creative. So yeah, went with Emphas Nest. Not quite as colourful as.
No, that's actually good, and it's niche as well, because obviously Solo, a Star Wars story, and things like that. So I mean, if it does release in 2024. I'll hold my hand up and say, well done.
It could be one they keep for the 10th anniversary, just so they've got a Solo set.
Exactly, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, and now we come to our final one of our 5 options for tonight's hypothetical January 2024 wave, which is a large set. Now, the criterion for this one, I was very, very strict on this one, was it has to be £60 or more, because obviously the TIE Bomber is sort of within that sort of price range now, and obviously I figured they'd release something similar. So, Sam, since this is your return to the podcast, you get to go first.
I mean, as soon as you said January 2024, a lot of ships went through my mind that I would like to have released, but they were way above the TIE Bomber bracket, so maybe we'll discuss those very briefly after this. But what I decided on in the end is very typical Star Wars fashion, and it was half what I want and half what I think LEGO tend to do, which is revisit sets. But one of my favourite starships, starfighters, whatever you want to call it, is the Arc 170, and there hasn't been one for a long time. I just think it's such a cool build. The original one, Jacob's got it hung up in his room. It's an awesome build, but it was built before they changed the brittle bricks, and the amount that we've had broken on that ship over the years just through like normal play swooshing around. I'd love to see a new one out. That would be really, and they love clone content, they always do, so I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility to see something like that.
No, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. I think as the guest, Jimmy, I think we're going to round off. You can be the last one. So my option for a large set within that price range was quite similar to Sam, really. I went for a set that I would like them to release, but I don't think they will. And it's one that we haven't had for a while, and is also in keeping with the Star Wars Rebels kind of anniversary thing, because it appeared in Star Wars Rebels because they changed its origin story, and that was the B-Wing.
Not been done for a while, yeah.
I think the last one was like 2014, so it was kind of like, well, if you're going to do a 2024 release, why not do a 10-year anniversary of the B-Wing and just give us like the ultimate B-Wing? And you could do it with a couple of Rebel pilot minifigures. You could maybe do it with an astromech, or you could even do, say, for example, you could do like Crix Madine as a minifigure. You could do Admiral Akbar as a minifigure, plus a couple of pilots, Nien Nunb, somebody like that. And just kind of like what they've done with the TIE Bomber, but the B-Wing.
I think that's a great shout, and I think the B-Wing covers a lot of bases as well. I think it's not out of the realms of possibility that we see a B-Wing heavily featured in the Ahsoka show. Obviously, original trilogy, you go back to Rebels, you kind of find B-Wings in a lot of eras of Star Wars. So, yeah, like you say, with the TIE Bomber, I think it's the perfect sort of set to kind of counter that, I guess, this time next year. I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah, and it's also in keeping with the Return of the Jedi anniversary as well.
Yeah.
And now we come to Mr. Leckoid. What large set idea have you gone for, dear sir? Because obviously you and I spoke about this before we went live on the podcast, and when you mentioned it, I was like, he's gone big. And I am hoping that I'm right and you picked what I think you're going to pick.
Well, no, because very much what Sam said before he started there. Thinking of the sets that I want, this set would be more than what you'd said, because you'd obviously said to me about £60-80, the same as the TIE Bomber. So I had a rethink. I was like, this is the set that I was thinking of is going to be 100 to 200. So I thought about something, and I actually thought of a set review that you did last year. And it was the Mandalorian Starfighter and how poor the wings were.
Oh, yeah.
But for them to redo it better, but do Darth Maul's Night Brother.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm on board for anything more.
I also like the shameless plug of my YouTube channel as thank you. I respect that. I respect that. But thank you very much.
He's done his homework.
You weren't the only one. Everybody said about those wings when you turn them up and you see the bottom of base plates.
Yeah.
And aesthetic was not there.
No, if you have it, if you have it like that,
to
it's
display
brilliant
as well.
Yeah, if you have it like that flat, it's brilliant. If you have it up, you can just see all the the pieces and the things. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I think that is a really good shout, and I would 100% buy that. And I hope you would also get an updated Sergio Press minifigure as well.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So,
I think that's going to be a close one on the votes.
I was just about to say. So I think that rounds us off with the votes. There will be a poll out the three of us. Who do you think has the superior hypothetical wave? I think Leckoid may have clinched this one with his Night Brother and his battle pack as well. So that's my scoop on this one. But guys, I mean, let's just address this one now. Obviously I set the criteria to £60 to £80, but I know you guys were thinking bigger. So Leckoid, I'm gonna have to ask it, mate. Were you thinking Ghost?
No.
Okay. I was.
I don't think if they release Ghost again, it'll be a UCS. We'll get a UCS Ghost at some point. But when we see it live action, they're definitely going to come a UCS Ghost. My ship, round about £100 to £200, I think needs to come out. And I love this in the series. And we only obviously got one set from Andor, and it's Luthen Rail's Fonder Hallcraft. That ship could be awesome.
That was the one that I was thinking of.
It has to be a set.
Oh, nice, guys, nice. I like that a lot. I think
I was looking at people had built some mocks of it this week, and I was reading some guy had posted his designs and had put underneath, and it's he was like, I couldn't work out a smaller scale, and I think the scale of it was very similar to the Justifier. You think that came out at 150, 160 quid? I just don't think you would be able to recreate that shit for any less than 100.
When I was thinking of it, I was thinking the Justifier set. I was like, it's going to be that price point, So I couldn't have that, and I was just like, but that's a set that if it came out, that's definitely something I was buying.
The other one that I had in mind, going way back to the Playscale Venator set, is a Playscale Chimera. Go back to Thrawn, have his capital ship. We haven't had, other than the UCS Star Destroyer, we haven't had a Playscale Star Destroyer for a long time.
2014 was the last one.
Yeah,
we had the First Order one, but original OG one.
So we forget about that.
Yeah. But OG one. I had the Ghost down. Obviously, Star Wars Rebels is my thing, and obviously I have the original 2014 Ghost that I got at Brickfest, but I've had to dismantle that because it came partially assembled. But I also thought for that higher price point as well, I went back a little bit as well, but I went back to Phantom Menace, and I also picked the Naboo Royal Starship as well.
Nice.
But that would be too many shiny bricks.
Bring back the shiny plates, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what, guys? I actually really enjoyed that. That was good fun. And I think for a hypothetical,
I like how you sounded surprised there.
yeah, no, I'm
God, I've got to come on with these guys again.
No, to be honest with you, talking Star Wars and talking Lego with my friends is always a high point. And you know what? It's been a good episode. And I think if anybody would like us to do something similar to, say, a hypothetical wave again, please get in touch with us, because I wanted to try something different, because doing Lego drafts is fun. It's just harder to really narrow down the minifigures sometimes. Because
also, we have very similar thought processes.
Yeah, so that's
it's
why
difficult.
That's why I kind of went for something a little bit different and went for a hypothetical 2024 wave. So let us know at the bottom of this, sort of like down there somewhere, who you think had the superior outlook, which one do you think is most plausible, and also next year, if we go back to this, how accurate were we? Which one of us has got the foresight for this, and which one of us really needs to just stop and get a crystal ball and try again? But I think, yeah, I would say, yeah, that's fair. But I think that rounds off our episode of tonight's Fandom Bricks podcast. Big thank you to our guest, TheLeckoid.
Thank you very
Tell
much.
us, dear sir, where can the people find you on our podcast? Because, you know, this is your debut after all.
Yes, I'm mainly on TikTok as at TheLeckoid, and also on Instagram at TheLeckoid, but mainly TikTok.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And if you don't go and follow TheLeckoid, please do. His content is amazing. Sam and I are quite lucky that we've got to become really good friends with him through our TikTok journeys as well. And it's all part of the reason that we do things like this, is because we get to interact with really amazing content creators. So go and check out his stuff on TikTok. Now, my amazing co-host, where can the people find you? Because you kind of changed up your content a little bit, and you kind of changed up some of your platforms, haven't you? But kind of you kind of disappeared for a bit, and then now you're back. So where can people find you?
Yeah, we were just going through a crisis, identity crisis. That's what it was over Christmas and New Year. A lot going on, so I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do with my content. But we're bite-sized bricks. We'd keep it simple, bite-sized bricks. I think I did actually post something on Instagram last week, first time in months.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can find me there, TikTok, YouTube, wherever, I guess, but maybe TikTok, easiest place to find.
Brilliant. And as always, guys, you can find me, the Galaxy of Bricks, my usual haunts. So that is TikTok. That is my main platform. That is where I've met both of these amazing people. You can find me on Instagram as well. I recently posted some images of my finished Sanctum Sanctorum, which is a highly brilliant set, and I would recommend to anybody who loves buildings and loves Marvel, and you're doing a Marvel-based city, get the Sanctum. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, at the Galaxy of Bricks as well, which TheLeckoid was able to make a very good mention about my Mandalorian Starfighter review. So thank you. This has been the Fandom Bricks podcast. I have been your host, Galaxy of Bricks, joined by Bite-Sized Bricks and TheLeckoid. We have so many more amazing things to talk about on next episode. But until next time, boys and girls, we will see you all very, very soon. Bye, guys. See you, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
The Fandom Bricks Podcast.